Take me to your leader. I come in peace. No, I actually don't though, because I'm here to kill everyone. Because I've played quite a bit of that new Hitman thing that came out. You know, that like pseudo early access, like here's level one, $15 please, release of the new Hitman game, and I've played a lot of it to like sufficiently that I say like, okay, I'm kind of done. I'm done with this level of the game, which is like I talked about this in the Blood Money videos a little bit, but I was like, I'm kind of two minds about the release for it because on the one hand, like that's really retarded that they're doing it like this. Like, just release the fucking game. What is this, like, kind of money grubbing, like, meeting it out release schedule where they're like, I do hate how everything is fucking episodic nowadays. Telltale kind of ruined that for everyone. That's one of my many things where I'm like, guess who ruined the game industry? If something becomes successful, it ruins the industry. And, uh, Valve tried to do that with Half-Life. They tried to release Half-Life episodically to be like, smaller releases that come out in quicker succession. And then it's been what's the fucking 20 fucking years since Half-Life 2 Episode 2 came out, and we're still waiting. At this point, I don't even want fucking Half-Life 3 or Half-Life 2 Episode 3 to come out because it can't possibly live up to the expectation. It's fucking ridiculous. So that kind of ruined that for a while, but then Telltale came along and they did the episodic thing with the Sam and Max games. The Sam and Max games are pretty good, classic point and click adventure games. But then they bombed out of the fucking barn with Walking Dead season 1, and it was sort of a revelation at the time, and everyone was like, holy fuck nuggets, this is really good. And then, like, immediately after season 1 ended, Telltale just took a nosedive in quality, and they're just not as good as they used to be anymore. I can't think of the last Telltale game that, like, I think it was really just Walking Dead. Everything since Walking Dead season 1 has had good moments, but overall, eh. Whereas season 1 of Walking Dead was like fucking bomb. You can replay that shit now, and it's still incredibly strong. But I'm gonna have more to say about the Telltale style soon, because I'm gonna be doing a new videos on a certain game that's pretty inspired by the same thing Telltale was and by Telltale. But anyway, Telltale came out with the episodic release schedule, and also the new game I'm going to be doing proves that you don't have to do an episodic release schedule and still be able to do the same thing. Like, it's an episodic story, but, they just released the fucking game. They didn't go, here's episode 1, here's episode 2, here's episode 3. So, there's one example of, like, you could have just done this, Hitman. You could have just done what this game did, which is just release itself in entirety while still having an episodic story. But it is frustrating because, like, everyone's jumping the fucking episodic bandwagon now, and it's the same thing with, like, the Ubisoft games, with the Arkham style combat. Whenever if you're in this industry and you play a lot of video games, which I do, you see these trends, and it just gets, like, what's the word? Overexposed. Oh, fuck, I'm not gonna remember. But, like, you see this shit done over and over and over again, and you just get fucking tired of it. on its own, this might be a perfectly acceptable example of this type of thing, but I've seen this type of thing in so many other things that I am just sick of it by now. You know, you see that a lot in reviews for Ubisoft games nowadays. Like, really, Ubisoft? This formula again? Saturated. Oversaturated. Fucking, watch the Vsauce video on Deja Vu. That fucking shit bugs the shit out of me. Can't remember the word. So, you know, I'm just oversaturated on the episodic thing. You know, it's super frustrating, but at the same time, for one thing, no one's forcing you to buy these. And it is perfectly reasonable what they're doing, where, like, you know, they're releasing the episodes individually, and you can buy them as they come out, and at the end of the day, it's going to add up to a $60 full game release, or you can just wait until the entire game's out and buy it right out the gate, $60 right then and there. And they're gonna have an on-disc release for when they're done with it. Like most episodic games do that nowadays. So, you know, what's the difference between just not buying these levels and waiting for the actual game to come out, or these levels not even being available? You're still waiting the same amount of time. It's not like if they didn't do the episodic structure, the game in full would be out instead. We'd still have to wait until whenever for the final game to come out. And this way, they're able to get, you know, feedback from the players and the community, and able to do bug fixes and, you know, tweaks to improve the rest of the levels as they're coming out. Like, they're really trying to make it like a, you know, community experience and a, you know, like a service kind of thing. And also, Hitman is the kind of game, the kind of story that this is really easy to accept. Because, like, you can see in the Blood Money games and the Blood Money videos, Hitman just kind of, like, 47 just kind of bops around, you know, the globe, going on contracts that are kind of unrelated. There is an overarching story, and the new Hitman game is laying the foundations for an overarching story, but like, you know, it's just kind of, you know, individual missions. And that's always been one of the strong things about this series, is it's had that, you know, Half-Life style, that Half-Life, that Silent Hill, that Dark Souls style of storytelling, which is almost completely environmental and completely up to the player's discretion. Like, what level of engagement do you want to have with this story? You know, because, like, if you want, you can just be like, oh, it's just about, like, you're in this location, go nuts and kill people. Okay, and that's it. That's the amount of investment you can have. Or, you know, you can try and, you know, piece things together and, like, replay and be like, oh, that's how that connects to this. And these characters had this conversation during this level, and that relates to something that happens over in that level, and it has something to do with what they said in this cutscene, and that, oh, there's that article in the newspaper off to the side, and that's blah blah blah. And, you know, like, I tried to show in Blood Money how, you know, Hitman, like, at the very least, Blood Money did that style of storytelling. And the new Hitman game, already you can see it's doing that. You know, it like, you can just play these levels. I'm, you know, making an assumption based on this being the first one. You can just play these levels as they come out, or just in a row, or whatever, and be like, you know, fucking whatever. Oh, I'm in Paris. Bada bop. Or you can be like, oh, who's this fucking... Does he have to do with something that got talked about in the tutorial level? And, oh, these NPCs over here were talking about this. And it's really interesting. And that's something I'm going to talk about also, because this game does the environmental storytelling that was in Blood Money even better than Blood Money did it. But anyway, like, again, I'm of two minds about it. Like, I liked this intro level. I don't know if I'm going to buy the levels as they come out after this. I'm just gonna have to see. I might end up buying just the full package. Like it depends. But like as of now, I feel like I've gotten the extent of what I'm gonna get out of this one level. Because it is a very expansive level. It's a very like any fears anyone might have had about this game, uh, based on Absolution, which well found. Like I, for one, was gonna be like, no, fuck you. Absolution was dog shit. Suck my dick. I don't give a shit about anything you do from here on out. Hitman's dead to me. This brought it back to life. It really did. Like like you fucking nailed it. You nailed it. This level has as much and more than even the best level on Blood Money. Extremely massive level with a whole bunch of different opportunities for how you can complete your missions and take out your targets, and extremely replayable. Like the first time my first run through the level, I took like an hour just running around trying to like find all the things, like trying to be like, oh, here's where I can, and obviously it was a total botch job. It was not a silent assassin run, obviously. But then you kind of learn, like as you play. It really is a great experience playing these games for the first time, because like this is something I've always talked about, or like I wish I could play these games for the first time again, because now when I go through the level, I'm like, okay, this happens here, and I need to go there to do that. But the first time I played it, I was like, okay, where do I go? Like, it's sort of funny because it's a Paris fashion show, and you show up, you have an invitation for the fashion show, and you're kind of like you go in and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go upstairs and go inside, and I was like, fuck you, and I ran around in the parking lot, and I was like, I'm not gonna do what the game wants me to do. I'm gonna go over here and see what's over here, and I went, you're supposed to go straight into the building that the fashion show's in, and I went left, and there's a parking lot over there, and I'm gonna run around the parking lot, see if there's anything to do here, and sure enough, there was like a faculty member, like a waiter dude out there having a smoke, and I could knock him out, and like right there I got a disguise, and then I could go around into the back where like the staff entrance into the kitchens are, and I ran around down there and tried to find stuff, and you can find this recipe for a drink that one of the targets really likes. And if you find that recipe, you can be like, oh, I'm going to go upstairs and like at the bar and pour the drink for him and put some poison in the drink. Oh, it's so crazy. It's a great level. Because like, it's got like 3 levels to it, where, there's the fashion show, and then upstairs is a secret auction, because the fashion show is being run by these information brokers. Like it's an organization called Iago, and they have spies all over the world, and they collect and sell information to people. And MI6 hired the ICA to go in there, because Iago's selling this if you've ever seen James Bond, the Skyfall, it's basically that, where they were like, we got a list of all the agents and we're putting it out there. And, obviously if you reveal a spy's fucking identity, they're gonna get killed. So MI6 knows that Iago has this information, and they can't really do anything about it, because it's in France, and they're like, okay, instead of us, risking international fucking bullshit, infiltrating this private organization on French soil, we're just gonna hire you guys to go in there and kill them, and fucking wash our hands of the whole situation. And it's actually great, because when I played it, there's a sheik there who's a sheik, just like in Blood Money. It's great. I actually did a contract because there's this mode called Contracts mode where you can go into the level and kill anyone in the level. It could be just a completely random NPC. And then you exit the level and the game remembers how you killed them, who you killed, it gives them a name and everything, the method you used, the costume you were wearing when you did it, and you can craft this whole briefing for like, oh, you got to go here and kill this person because of whatever. You can. It's a great little like. It's not a level editor, but it is a little bit of player creative content in there, which I'm not crazy about, but I made one or two little contracts, just fun stuff where like kill the sheik, just like in Blood Money, like a little Blood Money callback mission where okay, so like when I my first time going through it, I found the sheik and I didn't know of what he does. Like I kind of figured, oh, he's probably a guest at the auction, but I didn't know what knocking him out and taking his costume would do for me. I just did it. And I took his costume and I went upstairs to the auction. And then, you can sit down at the auction table where the sheik would sit. And then, the lady who's running the auction comes up to you and tells you, hey, sheik, we got this fucking information you're probably going to be interested in. It's about MI6 having some spies in your area. And you're like, oh, and then as you're sitting there, because there's a blend-in option where you're sitting there and you're kind of holding a tablet in front of your face, taking part in the auction, and eventually that auction item will come up on the ticket. They'll say okay, we have some information about some MI6 spies, and a button prompt comes up on the screen that's bid on this, and I was like, oh shit, because I kind of wasn't even paying attention. It's just droning on it's like a real auction. It's fucking boring. And then I saw that prompt pop out, I was like, oh shit, and I pressed the button really quick, and fucking 47 wins the auction as the sheik. And then, the lady who runs the auction invites you back to her private room to be like, yo, you want this shit? And you're like, yeah. And she's like, cool. And she turns around. Why would you turn around in front of me, lady? Now I have to kill you. And you just give me a perfect excuse to do that. So, my first time going through the mission, I impersonated the sheik, bought the MI6 spy data, had that taken off the docket for the auction, which, you're welcome, MI6. Now no one else can buy it, even though they're dead. Why do you think that information still isn't in existence and for sale, even though the people who are selling it are dead? You fucking idiots. They didn't, oh, don't go in there and get a little flash drive that has that information on it for us or anything. Just kill them. You're fucking stupid, MI6. So, you get what you pay for, MI6. That's my service to you. Here's the mint on the fucking pillow. Killed her. And then I went downstairs and did the drink thing and poisoned it and drowned him in his own fucking toilet while he was throwing up the fucking poisoned drink that I poisoned. And that's gross. But anyway, then I left, and I did surprisingly well. I didn't get Silent Assassin, because I think the guy I knocked out in the parking lot, there was nothing to hide his body inside. And the lady, I killed her, there was nothing to hide. That's one of the things I don't like about the game, because Silent Assassin is just a challenge now. It's not a ranking. Instead of doing what Blood Money did, where it's it has all these different code names it gives you, where Silent Assassin, or Professional, or Ghost, or Hitman, or Serial Killer, or, Maniac, stuff like that. All these unique designations. Now Silent Assassin is just a challenge on the checklist, and at the end, your ranking is either 1 to 5 stars, depending on how many fucking points you accumulated. So that's something I don't like. I miss the ranking system. There's no, news blurb on a newspaper, but that was just in Blood Money. The older Hitman games didn't have that either. Silent Assassin Contracts didn't have that either. So, can't complain too much about that. That was a Blood Money thing. That's something that's unique to Blood Money's identity. which is sad because that was a great part about Blood Money, and it was a huge part of what like all the environmental storytelling was. You take all these little snippets, these little articles, and you can piece the story together from there. This new game doesn't do that, but that's fun. Like I miss that, but at the same time, you're kind of like, yeah, it probably would have been a lot of trouble doing all the variations because, uh, Blood Money was really jank. Like, you kind of look at that game and you don't realize at first how fucking jank that game is. But it's super jank. When you play it, you're like, ah, this is some jank right here. That's a term that I heard recently from two best friends where it's called Eurojank, where it's got kind of that fucking stank on it, where you can tell, or like how when you play a game you can always tell where it was made. Like you play a game that was made in Japan, that was a Japanese developed game, and you can tell. You pick up that game, don't know anything about it, and you start playing it and you're like, this is a Japanese game. I can tell. Pick up a Western game, like a fucking BioWare game or a Bethesda game, when you play that and you're like, someone, on this side of the fucking river made this. And then you pick up a game that was made in fucking, like, shitty middle of Europe. Like fucking Poland. Burn on Poland. Or fucking Russia. Or, like, you pick up Metro 2033 or Stalker. And you're like, oh, that's some Jake. That's some fucking Jake on that shit. You can tell. It's always a very specific kind, too. Like, you pick up Witcher, you pick up Stalker, you pick up Hitman, and you can feel it. You're like, oh, that's some middle Europe stank on there. I think the original Blood Money, not Codename 47 game was made in Denmark. I always get the Netherlands and Denmark confused because Dutch. I'm not the only one who does that, but I'm pretty sure it's Denmark. But yeah, it's got that jank on it. It's so good. I love it. And and it's because of that. Like the more elaborate and expensive a game is, the less you can do with it. That's another topic that I find really interesting. It's like, the more production value a game has, the more limited it is. Because you had Blood Money with all that jank on it, and it actually had, like, a whole lot of freedom. Because you can just run around and do fucking anything because there's so little, like railroading on there. But then, like, the more expensive the game is, the less freedom you have to run around in it. And, you play Hitman, and it's a lot less janky. It's got a little bit more production value to it. There's a little bit less freedom than Blood Money had. And that's unfortunate. Like, I can accept that as a reality of the industry. It doesn't bother me. But that is, you put Hitman and Blood Money side by side, and you're like, there's a little bit of something here that got lost. And again, I'm fine with that. But, like in Blood Money, you can go up behind a motherfucker and push him over. And just keep pushing him. And push him flat on his fucking face as many times as you want. And, you can just push him for days. And, there's been all these times where, like, they were standing next to a rail, and when you push them, they'll fucking topple over the rail. Or you'll fuck up and they'll just be like, ugh, and they won't go over the rail. And it's that kind of, like, unpredictability. But then in Hitman, the new one, you can't push people. You can't just be like, I'm gonna shove you. You can only push someone over a rail when they are standing in front of the rail. And you are standing behind them. Like, if they're standing this way and the rail's right here, you're shit out of luck. You can't do anything. You can't push them from the side. You can only push them when you are behind them and they're looking over a rail. That's just one example. But, there's other ones. And, that's why, because, like, you have all this production value on the game, and you're like, hey, like, Remember those fucking news blurbs? You want to put those in? Fuck no, because that's absolutely insane. That's inconceivable for the level of production value this game had. You know, having a system in the game that tracks how many bullets you shot, how many people you killed, whether or not they were random NPCs or, security guard agents, what kind of weapon you used, like whether or not it qualified as an accident or not. That's an extremely limited list compared to all the different things that Blood Money tracked. That alone would make this game fucking explode. It would not be able to handle it. So, that's sort of the compromise you have to accept with modern games. I can get on my cynicism hat and be like, fucking modern game, because it can be very frustrating to play, just take the original XCOM and compare it to XCOM Enemy Unknown. And, XCOM Enemy Unknown has much higher production values. There's a lot less freedom. There's a lot less player freedom. Just alone, the fact that in XCOM Enemy Unknown, you can only have 4 dudes on your squad per mission. Only 4 dudes unless you upgrade it and get 6. In XCOM, the original, you can just jam 12 to 13 motherfucking troopers onto a single Sky Ranger with rocket launchers and fucking grenades all over their face. You can shove a tank in there. It was absolutely insane. And they could do that because it was a shitty little DOS game with shitty little sprite graphics, and they were just going around giddy. Fucking Enemy Unknown had voice acting and professional animation work and all this shit. So you just can't do as much with it. Anyway, tangent. I don't like how I feel like the ranking system needs to be better because Silent Assassin is a challenge. It shouldn't be a challenge. It's a rank. I want to be when I say challenges, there's a bunch of challenges you can do. There's this list in the game called challenges, and they're kill this target in this way. One of the challenges is that's actually a real bummer because one of the shitty things about Hitman Absolution was here are the 8 ways you can kill your target in this level. Can I kill him like this? No, that's not one of the 8 ways. These are the 8 ways. But in Blood Money, I could just do it. No, these are the 8 ways that you can kill your target. You must kill the target in one of these 8 ways. These predetermined ways. You have no freedom. You have no freedom as a player. You can only do one of these 8 ways. It's not that bad anymore. It's still kind of annoying to have a list of fucking kill them like this, kill them like this, kill them doing this. Thanks, I didn't want to, explore and just kind of, feel like I had figured that out dynamically. That is really annoying how you're you do something, you kill a target in a certain way, and you're like, yeah, I figured that out. And then you open up the challenge list and it's good job, you completed the challenge. Oh, that was a thing that the developers said, okay, here's a way you can kill them. That wasn't a really creative, interesting way that I had come up with dynamically. That was one of the challenges. So, ironically, some of the most satisfying kills you're going to get on these targets are not any of the challenges. You kill them in a way that's so creative and retarded that the challenges did not even consider that. Somewhere on the level, there's a costume called Vampire Magician. And it's just this stupid costume where it's a cape and a top hat and some glasses, and you're a magician who's a vampire with dumb big vampire teeth. And then somewhere on the level, there's a battle axe. So go ahead, get the battle axe, and dress up as a vampire magician, and kill both of your targets with the battle axe dressed up as a vampire magician. There's no challenge for that, motherfucker! That's what I thought. So the challenge system is dumb. I don't like it. especially because it takes Silent Assassin and makes it a challenge. It makes it another way to complete the level. It makes it a list of requirements to fulfill, and it's like, here is one of the methods you can kill your target, Silent Assassin. That's not what Silent Assassin is supposed to be. Silent Assassin is supposed to be like, you went in there, you killed only your target, and you left no evidence behind that it was you. Like the entire idea behind Silent Assassin is Agent 47 thinks that he doesn't believe in fame. He's not in this for a reputation. Like, he doesn't care about, oh, I'm the world's #1 assassin. He is. But he's not in it for that. He thinks the best assassin, the best assassination, is one that no one knew happened. Make your kill look like an accident. People go, hey, that guy got killed. No, he just died in a really unfortunate accident. That is the, hallmark of a pure world-class assassin to 47, to his view. That's what Silent Assassin's supposed to mean. You went in there, you caused no collateral damage, you left no evidence that you as an individual, as an assassin, were even present at the location. You only killed your target, ideally making it look like an accident. That's not mandatory, but ideally. That's the spirit of the thing. And then you got out, you might as well have been a fucking apparition, just floating into the environment and causing this person's death and then vanishing without a trace. And, making it into a challenge and not a rank spoils that. I can't play, I'm never going to get the little blip pop up that says Silent Assassin, because I got Silent Assassin once, and now I'm never going to know, was that a Silent Assassin run? Did I accomplish a Silent Assassination? I don't know, because I did the challenge already, so it's never going to show up again. That's even Absolution, and I feel dirty saying that, even Absolution didn't fuck that up. With its fucking point system, it still had a ranking system where it's like, oh, Silent Assassin. Your rank for this mission was Silent Assassin. In Hitman, this new one, your rank is 5 stars. It's not the same. It's not the same. That's very annoying. But I'm shitting all over it because I did really like it. I played this game for a good 20 hours, I think. I replayed this mission. I've actually unlocked a lot of the challenges. I've done most of these things that the game designer has laid out as opportunities. That's another cool system that this game has. And it ties into the environmental storytelling, which I'm a real fan of. There's this new system called opportunities, which are you overhear a conversation somewhere in the level, and, they're going what the hell is that drink that he keeps asking for? It's called a bare knuckle broxer or something like that. Oh yeah, that's his favorite drink. I wrote down the recipe somewhere. I don't know where it is. It's not a big deal. No, I think he deserves a good drink. I mean, he pays our paychecks. And then Diana chimes in. She's like, hey, he seems to like this special kind of drink. Maybe if you can find out what it is, that'll be an opportunity for you to take advantage of. And that's all it is. It's opening up that's the perfect name for it. Here is something that gives you an opening. That's all it is. And there's 5 or 6 of them throughout the level. One of them's trigger a fireworks display early, and they'll both freak out because hey, this wasn't supposed to go off yet. Or you can one of the models in the level looks a lot like 47, so you can knock him out and take his outfit and get the makeup done so that you look like him, and then you can walk the catwalk, and that's a really funny moment. And then that costume is a free pass. You can go anywhere on the level with that costume. So I talked about that in the Blood Money playthrough. You want to get one costume that lets you go everywhere on the level. That costume does it. You can go everywhere on the level with that costume and just run around and shove your fucking nuts in people's face. It's great. And like it gives you this opportunity where because like he is one of the spies for Iago, and so she's sitting you down and being like, hey, here's your assignment, go out and get this information. And the best part is, and it's a great part because like I talked about how in Blood Money there was the part where you can take the priest costume and perform the wedding, and or you can wait until the wedding happens and let the real priest do it. And it's funny that you can watch the priest do it and he sucks. Like he's a drunken retard. He's like, you fucking whatever your name is, take this bitch to be your fucking wife. And then 47 does it. He's professional. He's composed. He's poised. He knows what he's doing. It's really funny. It's a really funny moment. And this level has something like that where the first time I played through the game I was just walking around as a sheik, and then like that model came in, like I hadn't knocked him out, so he did the thing that you can do when you knock him out and take his place. He went up and had the meeting with her, and she's like, okay, here's your assignment, and he's like, oh, oh, oh god, I don't know how to. Slightly more dignified than that. That's a paraphrasing, but it's basically what he did. And she gives him a cyanide bottle. It's like, here, just in case shit hits the fan, that's your last resort. And he's like, what did I get myself into? Oh god! But if you knock him out and take his place, and you sit there as him and get that assignment, 47's a fucking bomb ass motherfucker. Because he's been a fucking assassin for like 20 fucking years, and he's like, I'm in. What's the assignment? Ah, that's very interesting. Ah, but she's not my target, is she? She's just my in to get to the real target. Ah, cyanide, very good choice. Okay, I'll drink to that, good sir. It's so fucking great. Fucking David Bateman, I think his name is. Hold on. David Bateson. David Bateson is the voice actor slash like model for 47, and he has been like he is a part of this series' identity. You know, like you can't like, oh man, back when Absolution, that's one of the reasons Absolution sucked actually, is they originally were making it without David Bateson. They were gonna have some new asshole be fucking 47. And the fans fucking rioted, and they eventually mentioned and say, okay, let's go get David Bateson back. And that was actually a pretty cool moment. That was one of those cool like moments in modern gaming. So they weren't even gonna think about doing that again. David Bateson is in here, and his voice acting is stellar. It's fucking so good. Like his performance as 47 has really evolved over the years. Like you go back and listen to Codename 47, he was kind of just walking in and reading his lines. And there's these really funny lines where he's like, I have to use the bathroom. Like you see all these like YouTube poops of those moments from Codename 47. Compared to now, like his vocal evolution as 47 is really interesting. I like it'd be really fun to take, like scenes from his performance in Blood Money, for example, and put them up to lines he has in this game. And it's because you're kind of he shows a lot more emotion, and not like as 47. When he's just being 47, he's 47. He's like, yes, I'm here to kill people because I am 47. That's what they do. I kill them. But then like he disguises himself in the level, and you can have conversations with other characters during the level, and his like it'll be like a completely different person is talking. Like his inflection will change, the way he talks is so different. He's always very, he's always like very in control of the situation. Like he's not pretending to be a squeamish, fucking loser or anything, but it's a very different like he's like it makes the idea of 47 being this master infiltrator who can, disguise himself. He's a 6 foot fucking bald ass motherfucker with a barcode on the back of his head, and he's able to disguise himself and sneak into these places. But like, the vocal performance really sells it. You can really believe that 47 is, changing his composure to be more acceptable as this figure that he's impersonating himself as. And it's really great. Like, if you listen to 47 talking when he's pretending to be the mechanic in the tutorial level, compared to how he sounds like he's talking when he's the spy in the Paris level, it sounds like a completely different voice actor, but it's not. It's David Bateson. It's really. And then you listen to how he talks when he's just 47 during the story cutscenes, and he's talking to Diana, and he's just being 47. It's a completely different. Oh, it's so great, so great. And Tobias Reaper comes back. I talk about in 47 in Blood Money. His old alias used to be Tobias Reaper, which is the Grim Reaper. Reaper is obvious, but like, it's supposed to be an anagram where you spell it out. It's like the Latin word for grim or something like that. And like, that would always be his alias, where he's like, I have a room reservation. It's under Tobias Reaper. And it comes back, if you get into the Iago auction as 47 without a costume, without a disguise as either the Sheik or the spy guy, and you sit down as 47, she's like, the lady's like, who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck? And she comes over and talks to you and it's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing at my auction? He's like, Tobias Reaper. And he's like, I'm a friend of the other guy. And she's like, oh, okay. And that's also a really fun moment and a challenge. Thanks for running that. And speaking of, I mentioned how during the tutorial level, that is where you can dress up as a mechanic. That's one of the levels that best shows off the environmental storytelling I'm talking about, because it's a recreation of a mission, but like, the mission is, because it's like a tutorial level, where you have to sneak into this Soviet base in Cuba and take out this American spy who's defecting to the Russians. And it turns out he was a double agent the whole time. He was always working for the Russians, spying on us. Does that make him a triple agent? He was spying on the Americans for the Russians as a spy for the... Anyway, and he's also a grandmaster chess player. Like, he's a super badass chess player. You know how fucking chess people are. They make musicals. That's what they do. I'm sure he had a song or two to tell when I was fucking killing him. And there's this really fucking great, like, environmental story that's being told if you overhear all these soldiers talking throughout the level, where the thing that's going on is, like, he had to break cover. Like, some Russian spy was gonna defect to the Americans, and so the guy you're killing had to break cover and assassinate him. And, everyone was like, oh shit, he killed that guy, so he had to bail out, and that's why he's defecting to the Russians, officially. But while he's at the base, instead of just leaving immediately to Russia, he's like, no, I can't leave without my girlfriend. Go and get my girlfriend and arrange for her to be, ushered away behind the Iron Curtain with me, or no deal. And he's blackmailing them into doing this. So while he's waiting on that to happen, he's just chilling out at this fucking Soviet base. While he's waiting on the Soviet base, he's got this chess set with him, and he's constantly like fumigating over this chess. And that one of the things you can do in this game, for that level, is like go up to the chess set and like move some pieces around to fuck with them. And if you overhear one of the soldiers talking, they're like, what the fuck's up with that chess set? And the other one will explain. He's like, oh, the guy he killed, he had a chess match with him. Like, that's the situation in which he killed him, and he killed him with, like, ricin-coated chess pieces. Like, he coated his chess pieces in ricin, and he touched them and got poisoned and died. Very publicly. It was like a public event that had occurred in. And that's why, it was a big deal that, oh, he broke his cover. And they're talking about, like, oh, like, during that chess game, the guy he killed made some very aggressive opening moves, and it really fucked with him. He was like, oh shit, like, oh, this is very erratic. Like, the guy he was playing with was kind of an amateur, and he's a grandmaster. And something that sort of happens when you become very, very, very good at a game is you start to flowchart it. Flowcharting is a fighting game term, but you can apply it to pretty much everything. Where it's sort of a derogatory joke. Oh, he's trying to flowchart this character, and it started with like this character Ken in Street Fighter, where it's a literal flowchart of like match start. What do you do? Hadouken, spinning kick, Shoryuken, or like, okay, oh, he blocked it, do this. Okay, oh, did he block it? Yes, no, do this. Oh, do the Shoryuken again. Shoryuken! Because like, Ken is one of those characters that's, like, very noob-friendly. So people just, like, default to doing, oh, when I'm going to do this move, and then if he does that, I'm going to do this. And if he does that, then I'm going to do this. And that's flowcharting. And, he's so high up there that he's expecting, like, chess players are very, forward thinking. They're like thinking like 3 moves ahead. Like, okay, if he does, I'm gonna do this, and then he can do either this, 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 or this. And if he does that, then I'm gonna do this. And if he does that, then I'm gonna do this. And if he does that, then I'm gonna do this. And if he does that, then I'm gonna do this. And if he does that from that, then I'm gonna do this to that. That, like, they're fucking insanoids. But because he was flowcharting so hard, he was thinking so far ahead, being like, okay, here's what he can do. That means the guy who was playing against did some rookie things or just completely thoughtless things. He's like, I'm going to move it here, which is something that he could not have possibly predicted, because who would do that? If you do that, then you can't do this, and you can only do this. But why would he do that? Did he know that it would... and he starts psyching himself out. He's like, oh my god, he's playing mind games with me. When in reality, the other guy he's playing against just isn't very good at chess. So he didn't know what he was doing. Like, he's so, like, high level and so far up his own ass. And he's a spy. Like, oh shit, I'm gonna kill this guy. He might kill me. Like, he's psyching himself out and being like, oh. So now he has the chessboard with him at the base. And he's running back and forth, like, taking a smoke break. And then going back to his room and being like, this fucking chess... Like, the pieces are laid out exactly in the same position that they were in when the guy died. Because he died before they could finish the game. He had to kill them before they could finish the game. So now he's, like, constantly agonizing over this. Like, what was he doing? What was his strategy? Oh, what could he do? What the fuck? And so one of the things you can do is, like, the chessboard's laid out in the way it is. And there's 2 moves that you're allowed to do. One is the very obvious move, which is to, like, move the rook to put into check. Like, you move not the rook, the castle. The rook is the horse. You move the castle, and you move it here, and then, oh, it's in check. And then he'll come back and see the board like, what the fuck is this amateur baby-ass bullshit? Put that back. Don't fuck around with my chessboard, you fucking idiot. Because, like, that's just such an easy move to fucking work around. He would never have done that, obviously, even though that's probably what the amateur he was playing against would have done, but he's built him up so much in his mind that no way. And then the other move you can do is kind of put the queen 1 space over, and it seems like a suicide move because it puts the queen in a position to be captured, but then he starts thinking about it, he's like, not the most conventional move, but 3-4 moves down the line. Yeah, this has potential. And he's like, yeah. And then, he takes a celebratory glass of vodka, which you could have poisoned. Like, moving that chess piece, like, made him do a thing, made him interact with the environment in a way that you could have manipulated to get into a position to kill him. But, like, that's beside the point, because the interesting thing there is all of this fucking information that's being given to you about the story of this target. Like, it's a complete throwaway target. It's a tutorial level target where they're like, oh, he's a fucking American spy defecting to the Russians, go kill him. Okay. But then you fucking stop and you go around the level and you listen to all these conversations people are having about him and his story and, like, what did he do to, like, out himself as a spy? Why is he defecting? Why is he sticking around waiting here on the base instead of getting the fuck out of here? Does he know this super secret KGB agent named Janice? Oh no, like, Janice is this legendary fucking spy. Who could it be? Maybe he knows. Maybe he knows the identity of him because that's his only contact. Oh goodness. And then you get to Paris and you find out that one of the targets paid an assassin to get a file that a Russian spy master was collecting on him of past crimes he had done to try and, like, extradite him. And so the target hired an assassin to take out the guy who was making a file, and the assassin did that by making it seem like that spy dude who was making the file was going to defect. And so, like, oh shit, his own dudes came after him and he committed suicide. And you're like, was that Janice? Oh my god, is the guy from the tutorial level back in the Cold War this dude who now got killed by the assassin who's, like, targeting 47 in the agency? Oh my god! And you'd only be able to put those pieces together if you heard that conversation between those troops in the tutorial mission and overheard the fucking conversation between one of your targets and her assistant, because, oh, she can't believe that he was stupid enough to hire an assassin to do that without telling me, because the assassin's price, the price he demanded for doing that job, was all of the information Iago has ever collected over the entire spectrum of their existence. Like, how could you do that? But he's like, oh, don't worry, I could tell. He was looking for something very specific. He was looking for a very specific piece of information. What could that information be? Could it be information pertaining to the agency and 47 himself? Because the assassin who is getting that file and did that thing for him, he had a little bit of a voice actor in the voiceover in the opening cutscene, which, if you look it up, it's called Hitman Legacy Trailer. Look up that trailer. That is the opening cutscene of the game. And I really like it. It's a really good trailer / cutscene because it proves that this new Hitman is not a reboot. That's one of the things. I don't know why everyone's saying this game's a reboot. It's not. It canonically takes place after Hitman Absolution. Like, I get that Absolution was terrible and we all kind of want to pretend it didn't happen, but it's not a reboot. You fucking idiots. Stop saying it's a reboot. It's not a reboot. That fucking cutscene at the beginning of a fucking game is a retelling of a bunch of missions from previous Hitman games. He's sitting there and he's taking aim with the sniper rifle and he shoots the sniper rifle. That's the very first mission in Hitman Codename 47, where you go to Hong Kong and you have to snipe a triad boss during an information exchange. And then the second part of the cutscene is, oh, he's serving up a platter of poisoned sushi, and this guy with white hair eats it and he gets poisoned and dies. That's a mission from Silent Assassin. Hitman 2 Silent Assassin, one of the best levels is you infiltrate this Yakuza boss organization and poison this sushi with fugu fish, and he eats it and poisons to death and dies. And then the third one is from Contracts, which doesn't make sense because that mission from Contracts was a remake of a level from Codename 47, and yet it's being presented as the mission as the representative of Contracts, which Contracts was kind of sort of a remake of the first game, but not really. It's confusing, but that like the third person he kills is a dude chilling in a pool and he drowns him. That is the dude from the hotel level in Contracts, which is a remake from a level in Code 47, who that's a way you can kill him. He's chilling out in the pool and you can drown him to death. The fourth one is the guy playing the cello in Chile in Blood Money. The guy who you kill, like, the vista is different, but that's the guy. He's wearing the white suit. He's got the mustache, Delgado. He's playing the cello, and 47 fucking garrotes him. And then the fifth one is he shoots a strip, like, it's in the strip club from Absolution, which took me a while to place because I kind of blotted Absolution out of my memory for a while there. But yeah, the strip club mission in Hitman Absolution where he shoots a dude through a two-way mirror and he dies, and that's it. Like, there's 5 kills in that trailer / opening cutscene, and that's all of the Hitman games prior to this one, showing 47 going from just recently being inundated into the ICA, and then all of his missions through all of the games leading up to this one. All of those missions, 20 years worth of missions on the part of Codename 47. And, you know, the voice actor is that, like, adversary, nemesis, assassin going like, do you know the world you're shaping? Does the ICA? Does your handler? I have to live in that world. Dun-dun-dun. Ominous foreboding. So yeah, that's the guy. And, I can't wait until the new levels come out, because A, they're all going to be just as replayable as this one, and B, I'm really interested in, you know, digging into that fucking story. And, like, whether or not they all relate to each other and what the connections are between that assassin and the fucking Janus, the fucking Soviet guy, and the dudes you kill in the Paris level. Oh, it's so exciting. It's so exciting to have a Hitman game that you can, you know, be excited about the player freedom and exploration. Because, like, this game is very flawed. This level game is very flawed. I've complained about the flaws, but it nailed it. It nailed what Hitman's supposed to be again. It's nailed the, you know, open-ended player exploration. It's a wide-open sandbox that players can explore and just complete freedom, do what you want to do. Here's some challenges. Here's some challenges you can do. But you can just do what you want. You know, like, explore, discover. It's like, we have made this toy box, and now you get to play in it. That's what the Hitman games at their best have always been, and that's what this level nails. And it's really great to have a Hitman game again where you can explore like that. I really appreciate it. One of the best parts was there's a really tough challenge to get called High Velocity, which is where you have to push one target over a balcony and have her fall and land on top of the other target, killing them both instantly. And one of my favorite moments was, I was like, how the fuck do you get that? And I was about to look it up, but then I was like, and then I did the thing that triggered that to happen, and I figured it out all on my own, and I was able to make it happen. Really great moments like that. And great moments like, you know, dressing up as a vampire magician and running around with a fucking fire axe, slitting people's throats and crushing their heads in. It's a great game. It's a great game. To talk more about the expert level design and, you know, environmental, like, the way the game kind of guides you as a player. Because I've talked about before how, like, you know, you play these games for the first time, it's very different from how you play it after on a replay playthrough. How you play these games as someone who doesn't play games all that often compared to someone like me who plays games very, like, you know, regularly, and, you know, I have a lot of experience playing these games, especially Hitman games. The way I would play this game, even on my first playthrough, would be very different compared to, you know, and someone who doesn't play video games that often or has never played a Hitman game before, how they would go through it. And the way this game is designed, it's very, you know, is still very well designed as like like uh 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 if you've seen Ego Raptor's sequelitis video on Mega Man X, this game does that he talked about in that video. Where like, oh, I don't know what to do. I got these buttons. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna press left on this buttons. I can't go right, so I'm gonna go left. Oh, and then like you're slowly learning how to play the game just by going through this opening level. This game does that, and to show someone who talks about that a little bit more than I kind of have time to do so. I'm gonna link down in the comments below to a guy called Mother's Basement, and he did a video recently on the Hitman, on this new Hitman game and its level design and how it allows you as a new player to learn about the game's mechanics as you're playing it. And I thought it was really entertaining. I think you might find it really entertaining. Uh, I don't think I'm gonna do a video of me playing this new game, at least until it's finished, and then we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, hope you enjoyed the Blood Money playthrough. That was fun. Very technical issues, but still fun. Hope you enjoyed this, and then new playthrough coming pretty soon. Hopefully, I haven't actually started recording that yet, so hopefully that goes well and this video doesn't make a liar out of me. But anyway, see you guys next time. Also, I shaved now, so there's that.